Is this ridiculous or what? What is Rob Manfred doing?
I have no idea.
It's absolutely ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Like, if he's done with the investigation,
Right.
First of all, he dragged it on way longer than he needed.
I agree
to,
with you.
Right? I'm sure he, right? And so now he's holding on to, I mean, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You should tell everyone what the results are.
And you want to know something? You know why he doesn't want to tell the results? Because he knows that right now it would be the lead story in sports. If they did find something, which I believe he did find something, and he knows that he's going to have to lay down suspensions and all this other stuff and everything that happened with the Astros and how he mishandled the Astros. And now what he's going to do is he's going to absolutely go after the Red Sox, which I feel bad for the Red Sox because
I don't think there's going to be any suspensions or anything. You can't suspend any of the players from the Red Sox because you didn't suspend any of the Astros, right?
I agree
bullshit
with you.
on that immediately, right? And Alex Cora is already gone. So what could they possibly do to the Red Sox? They already have a new GM, right? That was already done. They have a new manager. You're not going to suspend any of the players. So what are they really going to do?
Well, again, when I look at the Red Sox, and I feel bad for the Red Sox because you don't know what Rob Manfred's going to do. Is he going to try to compile everything that he didn't do to the Astros to the Red Sox? I don't know what Rob Manfred's going to do, but you know what the fans have said, and you know what the certain league executives have said because of it. So I don't know if he's going to mishandle this situation now because I believe he's going to wait until the regular season because whatever he does to the Red Sox, he doesn't want it to be the main lead story. If baseball is back, fans are going to be concentrated on baseball. They're not going to be concentrating on the whole Red Sox dispute on what he's going to do to the Red Sox and if he's going to do anything to the Red Sox.
Well, I also think he was probably trying to compare the two cases, too. I think they were trying to finalize what exactly the Red Sox did, and obviously we don't know because he's not going to release it for whatever weird reason. And I think they were going to try to compare the cases. If the Red Sox did something where they used a lot more technology than the Astros did, or the Red Sox did it for a longer period of time, then they might get hit harder. If the Astros got hit harder, then, like, you're right, Jeff, probably nothing will happen to the Red Sox then, or they'll increase the Astros punishment. We'll see. The player immunity thing, I still don't
go back and retroactively freaking punish the Astros. You've already handed down the Astros punishment. You're not going to go back and say, well, I got that wrong, so let's keep hammering away. No one does that.
They could if they compare the investigations.
That's what they hammered Goodell for, too, because the Deflategate thing, dude, even ESPN is writing stories about how Deflategate was a joke and wasn't real and whatever. And Deflategate was looked at as a retrial of the Spygate thing, right? And how horribly that was mishandled. There's zero chance Rob Manfred's going to go, well, the Red Sox use watches or whatever they find, and then go, well, now I need to repunish the Astros. There's zero.
Not repunish, but reinvestigate because maybe there's something that we don't know with that, and maybe there's new factors that could have been brought in.
You just got done with an investigation. What are you going to open an investigation into the investigation?
No, if there's new evidence, there could be something like that. They're not going to punish him more. Yeah, I know they stopped looking, but again, I still think they can compare the cases. Now, why they're not revealing it, we agree is stupid, but because the Astros had a chance to fire their guys already, and the Red Sox probably would have a chance to do the same if we didn't know what the results are. Maybe the Red Sox wouldn't consider trading some of the.
But that's why they're pushing it off, Speedy. They're pushing it off because they don't want to know if it comes out right now. And let's say Rob Manfred says, you know what? I'm going to suspend this guy. I have video on this guy. I have video on that guy. I'm going to suspend half the players on the team. We don't know what Rob Manfred's going to do or what he's going to when the season starts. I think he's pushing.
We know what he's going to do.
I think he's going to absolutely go after the Red Sox, and people are going to look at the whole situation. Why didn't you do the same thing to the Astros as you did to the Red Sox? I think he's going to go really hard at the Red Sox, and people are going to they're going to argue their points on why didn't you do exactly what you did to the Red Sox to the Astros. I think that's what's going to happen.
It depends on if the cases are even. If the cases are even, you have to compare them as even and suspend them as even. But if the cases aren't even, then the Red Sox can be hit harder.
Maybe he could say, you know what? At the time, I didn't feel that it was as bad as I see it to be now. And now I'm going to give the Red Sox a harder, worser punishment because of the whole situation with the Astros. And I need to teach these guys, I need to teach these teams a lesson.
Well, that would be stupid if they do it without any realistic evidence of why they should punish them harder. But I feel like they still could be punished harder if they use more technology.
Here's my best guess as what's happening, right? Here's the best guess. That there's going to be no punishment and Manfred's going to find the Red Sox did nothing. And it's not that the Red Sox didn't do anything. I'm not trying to even sit here and advocate that they didn't do anything. My best guess is that that's what he's going to find, and he wants to announce it as the season's starting, so it isn't a further black eye on the game. I don't think Rob Manfred thinks that the scrutiny on the league would be good, and I think that he wants to start the league with some good news, and he may be just fabricating the good news.
But that's not necessarily true if the cases aren't even.
Let's just think about it this way. Just think about it this way, Jeff. This has been going on for the past 2 months. The whole Red Sox investigation, maybe even longer than that. It's been longer than that. And Rob Manfred has not come out with any story behind it. He came out with the Astros, and it became a huge story throughout baseball, throughout the world. It was the number one story in sports for 2 weeks. And it was the number one story besides the Kobe Bryant over there at the Super Bowl. It was a big story over there. So when you think about the Red Sox are a bigger organization, very well organization that's won, 3 world championships in less than 15 years. And they've been the most dominant professional baseball team in baseball in the last 15 years. Let's be honest. You could argue them and the Giants. You can go back and forth who's been the better organization. But I would say the Red Sox because they've been more consistent. So when you look at that, they're going to say, well, you know what? We're going to make a point. We're going to seed this, and we're going to set the seed so nobody does this again. And what I think is going to happen, the reason why you think the opposite, I think the worst. I think the worst thing that's going to happen is Rob Manfred did find something. He doesn't want to speak about it. He wants to wait until the season starts where it takes all the whole story out of it because everybody's just so happy baseball's back around. I think that's what's going to happen because I think he found a lot more than people think that he found.
That's entirely possible, but he's taken such a hit from how he handled the Astros thing that I think that I, because I don't think that even, let's say what the Red Sox did was worse. No one knows, but let's just say it was.
Yep.
Right. I don't believe that he wants to be able to hand down another no punishment and keep taking a hit for himself. Like if that were the case, if what the Red Sox did was worse, and he's basically, because what he did to the Astros, he's basically now forced to hand down no punishment to the Red Sox. He will have to quit.
I think
he can't afford that.
I'm going to tell you this right now. He's not lasting past 2024. I'm sorry. When his contract is up, there is no way the players union and the owners of all and the executives that make the votes on who's the next commissioner, who's going to be the commissioner for the next 10 or 5 or 7 years. I do not believe Rob Manfred, especially with the Astros and now the Red Sox thing, if this turns out to be a back and forth banter for the next couple of months after the season starts, I don't think Rob Manfred's going to keep his job even past 2024. I think he'll last till 2024 when his contract is up, and they're going to say, sayonara. That's what I think is going to happen. Because I just think he handled it completely wrong with the Astros. He handled it completely wrong. I'm not saying suspend the whole team. And I'm not saying suspend the whole organization where they can't make money for the year. What I would have done to the Astros is pretty much, and I've said this over and I'm going to say it again, I would have taken their 5 best players. I don't care how you do it. Estimate it, your pitching, your hitting, whatever. You take their 5 best players and you suspend them for 40 games without pay. Whoever's a part of that team last year when they, or the last 2 years, whoever was a part of that team, they can use that against them and take their 5 best players and suspend them for 14 games, set them in a handicap where, and when the season starts, if there is 80 or 90 games, well, they're going to miss 40 games. So the chances of them making the playoffs is slim to none. And pretty much Rob Manfred says, you know what? You screwed the league, I screw you. That's the way I look at it. That's
how do you know those players were the primary ones in the investigation, though?
I'm not saying that they are. I'm saying that if they're... If they think, if he presses a rule and says, listen, I think that these 5 players are your best players, Justin Verlander, Altuve, Correa, Springer, and Redmond. Bregman. I'm sorry, Bregman. If he wants to suspend all 5 of those guys for 40 games without any pay, he can absolutely do that. He is the commissioner of baseball. If you want to set this team, you want to set the league up and say, you know what, you do this is what's going to happen to you. This is what I would do. I would suspend their top 5 players.
I understand where you're coming from, but I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even go that route. I would say it's what how many games did you just put out?
40.
50 games.
40 games.
You just put on it, right?
40 games.
I would go back and look at the tape, and every time you heard a trash can bang, for anyone that was at the plate, they get 40 or 50 games or whatever the punishment is, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone that took part in it gets a punishment. It doesn't matter.
That's true.
Anyone who took part in it gets a punishment. This is why we have AAA teams. Oh, you want to field a team? We'll call guys up from the minors because that's what would happen anyway. Don't exclude anyone.
I guess you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yes.
The minute you exclude anyone, it's like selectively choosing. Go back, look at the tape. Anytime someone was at the dish and you heard a trash can bang, they're involved too. Suspend them. Make the AAA team play your schedule.
I agree. I think they have to do something like that. You can't take away all their games. You can't take away all their players. So you got to do one thing. How do you hurt the Astros? And how do you hurt them? You hurt them in their pocket. And right now the fans are trying to hurt them in the pocket because what they're trying to do is now sue the Astros for if they're season ticket holders and they feel like they got wrongly abused last year because they're raising the prices. Because I heard they're raising the prices after all these, all this whole situation came out to the public this past year. And this has been going on for 3 years. The fans are now taking it out on the Astros, and as well as they should, because the fans are what pays their salaries. So I agree with you, Jeff.
But if you don't set the example, like this is kind of the first time this has happened. They didn't have video monitoring equipment in the 20s with the Black Sox scandal and that. Mm-hmm. People are now using modern technology to cheat, and you got to set the example right off video monitoring equipment in the 20s. Nothing ever works, right? What are you going to do? Implement a rule in 2 years? That's not going to work. He should have tried to set the example right off jump and suspended people. But the other thing is he gave guys immunity so they would talk. Would they have found out this was going on if players didn't talk?
No, I don't.
It didn't help anything. Just like getting answers from them.
Just like Jose Canseco coming out with the steroid book. If Jose Canseco never opened his mouth, that would have never came out. Jose Canseco came out with the book, and he came out with everything because he no longer could make any more money from baseball. So what he did was make money with his big mouth. And that's why nobody likes Jose Canseco, and nobody wants, even the Astros, when they had their 1980 teams every season they have their 1981, 82. Jose Canseco has not shown up to one of them because they never invited him. And Jose Canseco for like 9 years was the best, really the best Oakland Athletic over those years, even better than McGuire at some points. He was better than McGuire. Now, McGuire had his years where he was unbelievable, especially when he went to the Cardinals.
But he was considered to have shamed baseball.
Yes.
Is anyone honestly, if you're a Dodgers fan, okay, maybe. If you're a Yankees fan, okay, maybe you feel a certain type of way about it. But it was widely recognized that Jose Canseco shamed baseball, whatever, and no one wanted him around. Mm-hmm. Is anyone remotely giving that much scrutiny to Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, George Springer?
No, not them individually, but the team. Just the team as a whole. A lot of players have come out. And
they can't even admit that they did it. They won't even admit that they did it.
But that's the thing, though. This was a players and managers and whatever scheme, and so they hammered the Astros. Well, you're not going to sit here and tell me that Jose Canseco punching people in the butt with steroids wasn't widely known by managers and players. It's the same thing, only with a different tool.
I agree.
Right, but one's team-based, one is individual-based. So Canseco saying it for those particular players.
Players knew, and
everybody
knew. Were doing it. Are you going to sit there and tell me Mark McGwire wasn't doing it?
Of course. I'm just saying there's a difference between the individual basis and the team basis.
Jose Canseco is the one who introduced him to it. He introduced the whole Oakland Athletic team to it. That's a fact.
That's my point. That's my point, though. It's it's the same kind of thing. You have guys on that team who was the catcher there for the Astros there, Chirinos, right? Mm-hmm. You had Chirinos and you had Evan Gattis come out and say, "Oh, well, we weren't a part of it." Okay, it's believable to an extent. Maybe you weren't.
Well, Chirinos is a new player, so it's a little more believable for him. Gattis was there all 3 years.
Right, but you can have individual people come out and say that they weren't a part of it, but it doesn't exclude them from not knowing. Everybody knew. Everyone knew it was wrong.
And everybody benefited at some point.